thought we kind of lost our edge a little bit in the middle of the first half. I heard you guys talking about the Rubin three. We kind of were lackadaisical with the ball in transition a little bit when I thought we could have maybe knocked them out. But credit to Kentucky, I thought they did a good job fighting, cutting that lead. They went on a 10-0 run on the heels of that. And nip and tuck a little bit early in the first 10 minutes of the second half, but I thought we did a really good job relentlessly getting on the glass, especially the last 10 minutes of the game. And, making sure we got second chance opportunities, making sure we got to the line. And, our defense was great early, not great in the middle, but pretty good late, guarding the line and making sure that we didn't give up any sort of run down the stretch. So, great win. I don't think we played our best, but we played well enough.
I know a lot of people will harp on Xavier, hitting those first 4 3-pointers, but his ability to penetrate and attack and try and get downhill today, how huge for you in your mind was that?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing great, right? I mean, he was fantastic at Georgia. He was great at Vanderbilt. He's stacked some really good games over the last couple weeks. And I thought he was fantastic today. Just got off to a great start, knocking shots down. To your point, he did a really good job of playing, with great patience in the paint, playing off two, making good decisions. And he gave us a big lift. Obviously, him and Irby shooting the ball the way they did allowed us to win the game the way we did today.
Micah's defense, just what he gave you guys today. Ruben was a little bit in foul trouble there.
Yeah.
Not his best performance, but just Micah's effort today.
I thought Micah was great. I thought, obviously the stat sheet doesn't tell the story minus the plus-minus. It felt really good with him out there. He did a great job defensively, cleaned up, on the glass. And, obviously Ruben is, I would argue, the best defensive player in America. And Micah hasn't been at that level clearly. But I thought today he did a great job of not allowing any fall off when he was in the game. And that allowed us to play really well when he was in there and go plus 14.
Seems like every time Tommy Houck has been challenged at Florida, he's responded. But Ortega came in today, 5 straight games, 20+. Just the job that he and his teammates did, kind of making life hard on Ortega, forcing him to his left hand.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of our scout was, to make it tough on, obviously, Ortega and Zell. And, they went 12 for 35 combined from the field, 1 for 9 from 3. I thought we did a really good job of defending those guys. They were trying to score, and we knew that. And so we wanted to keep 2 on the ball when they were getting downhill, kind of force them into those playmaking decisions. And overall, it was really good for us. And, the things that hurt us were other things, like I thought we did a really poor job on Chandler, letting him get some space. I thought we did a poor job on Diabate, letting him get left. So, big picture-wise, I thought, scouting-wise, we did a decent job, in the main parts of, what we were trying to accomplish. But the auxiliary stuff really bothered us and allowed Kentucky to stay in the game.
You talked about some of the criticism that Alex has gotten this year the other day. How rewarding is a double-double in a game like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, as I've told you guys, he's a great player. People want to poke at things about our team or about our personnel when we're not doing everything perfectly, but you look at the big picture and how many guys in America would you trade Alex Condon for? I can't think of any at that spot. And, he's been a huge winner for us. And, the double-double, huge. But, it's his defense, it's his winning plays, it's his effort that's unmatched, and it's why he's such a great player.
Todd, obviously this is one of the best rivalries in college basketball, and this is for his first win at home over Kentucky in 8 years. Just what does it mean for you to put, that feather in your cap, for your program?
Yeah, I mean, we lost to them our first year here when we were a little banged up. They got us in a great game when they had Shepard and Rob Dillingham when we led most of the game, and they won it late. Aaron Bradshaw hit a big 3. That was interesting. And then this was the next time we got him in here, and, we took care of business. Obviously won there 2 years ago. So, it is what it is, and just the way the schedule shaped up. And now we're going to have a really tough challenge going back to Rupp. Obviously, Kentucky's playing a lot better. There's no doubt about that. I stick by what I said. Their ability, the fact that they have some guys out and their rotation has shrunk has allowed people to get comfortable in their roles, and they're playing a lot better for it. So, there's a reason why they were able to climb into second, after a tough start in league play. So they're playing some good ball. They're talented. Obviously, $22 million roster. They're physical. They're big. And, I expect them to do well the rest of the year. They're a really good team.
You routinely praised the atmosphere, just today. I think it's the largest crowd since you've been here. Just what did they give you today in terms of a lift?
Listen, our crowd is incredible. And, we had to earn it. when we got the job here in terms of, getting kind of the excitement back in the O-Dome. But, as I've said before, this is why it's a great place. Like, people really appreciate winning, and they want to be a part of it. They want to be around it. And, when we've given them a semblance of hope about our program, they've shown up for us and supported us in a big way. And today was no different. It was a great crowd, great atmosphere. There's a reason why college basketball is what it is right now. It's games like this, on ABC that make it special. And this was a great game.
What was it like to see?
You're 2/3 of the way through the SEC schedule. Are you where you thought you would be at this point as far as the team development, or have you exceeded expectations?
You know what, we're trending. I don't necessarily have like a goal of where we want to be at a certain point. We just want to get better. And we've definitely done that over the course of conference play. We've improved in a lot of different ways. Our bench has really stepped up and given us, the ability to play 8 and be complete that way. And we've been pretty consistent. Obviously, we didn't play well against Auburn in here, and that one, will sting us a little bit. But we haven't lost since that game, and besides Missouri, in a game where I didn't think we played great, and they're proving, that they're a very good team. They won on the road at Kentucky. They won on the road at Texas A&M earlier in the week. So, they're starting to hit their stride, but. We're getting there. We're not all the way. I thought today we took a step back in some of the areas that we had been, growing in, but we're also getting a lot better in some areas that I didn't expect us to make a jump in. So we got to stay the course.
What was it like to see Walden Will return to the O-Dome and for them to choose to spend their All-Star break back in Gainesville?
It means everything to me, to be honest. The love that we have for those guys is immeasurable. I think they, changed a lot of people's lives during their time here in Gainesville, and they're great dudes. They're a great representation of our program, and obviously led us to a national championship. And, a lot of guys want to go to the Bahamas, or they want to go to Cabo, or, Miami. And the fact that these guys came, to be with us, they were here yesterday at practice. They sat in, with us during film. They were here at shoot-around today. Obviously, they got a well-deserved, moment of recognition, sitting there courtside. And it's just incredible, man. Like, nobody can never take away from us what we did together. And I anticipate that relationship with the university, being strong for a long time.
Final
Do you
24
think
minutes,
the
guys.
Auburn game, in a weird way, benefited you? Because, like you said, you guys usually come out swinging. That game, Auburn did. But since then, the last 5 games, it seems like you've taken it to another level, especially at the beginning of these games.
Yeah, I'm never going to say that a loss benefits us in that sense, but I will say that we responded the right way from it. Again, you got to tip your cap. I thought Auburn played really well. We didn't have our best that day. It can happen. This league's really good. There's a lot of really talented teams, and what we've been able to do outside of that game over the last 8, I think is pretty incredible. We're winning most every game by double digits. We're doing it comfortably. We're guarding at an elite level. I think our offense and defense have been top 5 nationally over the last 10 games. So we're turning into a complete team. And we knew it was going to take a little bit of time. We played a tough schedule, lost a little confidence. We were trying to shake through all that. But, it's mid-February, and we're playing some good ball. And as we talked about, and as we'll continue to talk about, I don't think we're at our peak yet. I think we have areas we can still improve, but we're headed the right direction.
You knew Denzel was going to come back with a little bit of something to prove. You like how you guys played him, forced a lot of tough shots.
Yeah.
contested shots.
Yeah, I think, I thought we did a great job on him. I thought he made some tough shots. The one that I was disappointed with was the 3 we gave up in the first half off the ball screen where our help wasn't high enough. But, we understand that for this team, like Owe and Aberdeen are going to try to make all the plays. And we got to do a good job running Chandler off the line, which we didn't. But if we could, cut their water off, that we'd give ourselves a good chance to win. And, they're both really good players. You're not going to make a miss every time. But, combined holding them to 12 or 35, like that's winning basketball for sure.
Being in first in the SEC, what does it mean at this point in the season? And how does that maybe help your edge come March in terms of holding on to it?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot because, you're in position to – it means, first of all, you're playing well and you're trying to win the league, but it doesn't change how we approach anything we do. It's not – we're not going to talk about holding on to first place leading up to the South Carolina game. It really has nothing to do with that. I do think, to talk about the Auburn game, that might have been a little bit of our issue that day. We were talking about getting back in position to compete to win the league, looking too far forward. This team has been at its best when we're living in the now and focusing on getting better every day and not worrying about anything but that next game. And today was Kentucky. On Tuesday it's going to be South Carolina.
Final 23 minutes, you guys out-rebounded them by 12. Just any adjustments in mentality or?
Well, no, I think, Kentucky's been rebounding the ball better. Tennessee got them on the glass, but if you look at their last 5 or so matchups, they've been getting close to 30% of their misses back or more. And again, they're playing much bigger than they were earlier, and I think it's kind of a result of that. But the rebounding was a big part of the scout. It was a concern of ours to make sure we kept them off the glass, and they got us early. They weren't making shots. They were getting their second chances. We weren't putting any pressure on the offensive glass. I think we were even at halftime on the glass, but I thought they won the boards. They won the battle of the boards in the first half, but we did a much better job. And again, our tenaciousness, our physicality showed up. The last 10 minutes of the game, I thought we dominated that way, and we kind of refused to not get the ball. And, that's got to be our calling card and our MO as we move forward.
All right, thanks, Todd.
Go Gators.